Herzlich willkommen, liebe User, zum Videochat von Bild, T-Online und T-Online. Ich heiße Özlem Aydin und darf Ihnen heute einen Megastar präsentieren, von dem ich persönlich auch ein riesengroßer Fan bin. Janet Jackson ist heute bei uns im Studio und wird sich Ihren Fragen stellen, also ran an die Tastatur und her mit den Fragen. Hello, Janet.
Hi.
A nice welcome to you as well. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
You know, we have your fans sitting by the keyboards and waiting to ask you their personal questions. So if you're ready, we'll get it started.
Sure.
All right. The first question is by Frank. He wants to know, what is your favorite song in the charts right now?
I like Freak a Leak. I have more than one. I like Freak a Leak by P.D. Pablo. I like Usher's Yeah. I like, what else? I like Tipsy by Jaquan. Let It Burn by Usher. Yeah, those are pretty much my favorites right now.
Do you listen to any European artists, or have you heard anything since you've been here?
You know, I actually haven't heard very much since I've been here in Europe, because it's been just work, work, work.
So what do you listen to personally? Like, do you listen to any old school stuff, or just the stuff in the charts right now?
Brazilian music. Yeah, that's my favorite. That's what I listen to. That's what I go to sleep to. Because I can't fall asleep to quiet. That quiet is too loud for me. So it's all about Brazilian music for me. And jazz. Those are my favorites.
So you haven't been to Germany in a while. How have you been? What have you been up to? How is life for you right now? How do you feel?
Life is great. I've been working, trying to stay out of trouble. And that's pretty much it, really. Yeah.
And let's talk about the album.
Sure.
Your new album is called Damita Joe. That's your middle name. What made you give the album your middle name? Why did you want to title it that?
Well, the album has different characters that are actually on it, and that actually reside within me. And Damita Joe is actually one of the characters that's on the album. That's why, from one song to the next, it's pretty different. One day, one of the producers, Dallas, and I, we were talking. We were sharing middle names, and he had said to me, "You know, you should title the album that, since it's one of the characters on the album." I always wanted to do an album titled Damita Joe, but I've always wanted to do a Brazilian album and title it Damita Joe. Yeah.
So what does that imply to, like, are your fans, do your fans hear a different side of you? Because your middle name is something very personal, you know, and you gave it that name. Like, do we see another side of you that we haven't seen yet?
Yeah, on this album you definitely do. It's personal, but in a different way than Velvet Rope was. That was dealing with a lot of very deep issues from within, pain and things like that. This is very personal on a much happier, a much lighter note, and they do get to see that side of me, look deep inside, and see all the stuff that I'm into at the moment. What's going on in my life?
There's actually one song. It's called Damita Joe, where you say, "There's another side that I don't hide, but I might never show." What side is that? Like, will the public ever see that side?
Not right now. If you do, I doubt you really do. But if so, not right now. No.
Not right now.
Yeah, I think it's important to leave something for your privacy, to yourself. And even though I do tend to share a great deal because I write from life experiences with the audience, I keep a lot to myself. I really do. I don't divulge everything that goes on in my life.
So how do you deal with, you know, there's not many scandals about you. Like, you keep to yourself. It seems like when the album comes out, the fans will see you. You'll go on tour, but then you keep to yourself. There's not many scandals. So how did you deal with the last incidents? Like, how did that make you feel?
Well, you know, I wasn't finished working the album. When all that drama happened, I came home back to LA, and I had like about 2.5 weeks more to complete the album. So I just dove into my work the way I always do. And, you know, I saw and heard, and it's just strength. It comes from my heritage. And it comes from my mother. My father's very strong too, but my mother's an incredibly strong woman. And I realized that I have her strength, and I thank God for that.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that you being a Jackson, there's like I wouldn't say a curse, but there's something about the family that people always want to find out more and always get in your privacy?
There's some sort of intrigue there. Mm-hmm. I guess so. I guess they want to know what makes my family tick. Mm-hmm. You know, I've heard people talk about my family in the same sentence that they've mentioned the Kennedys. I hear that a lot, and I think there's a great deal of intrigue with that family as well, and there are similarities. But it's just, my family's always been under a great deal of scrutiny, and I think forever will be. Mm-hmm. Why people are so intrigued, I really have no clue. Mm-hmm. But we're just like every other family.
Mm-hmm. We have another question. Your fan wants to know whether you wrote your new song, I guess the new single, yourself. You write most of your songs yourself.
Yeah, I do. There are a couple of things. Thinking about my ex, I did not write that song. It is not about my ex. And that's why I put the little tag at the very end of the song. It's not who you think it is. I just thought it was a very beautiful song, and lyrically very beautiful, even though I was going to change it lyrically. But they're talking about All Night. Mm-hmm. Actually, Untour and Anders, the name of the producers and writers, and also Prof T, who I've known for a very long time, mm-hmm. wrote that. And they're actually Untour and Anders are from Europe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're Swedish. Mm-hmm. Swedish guys, very nice guys, very wonderful and very talented writers.
So how do these producers, how do they approach you? Like people that are probably newcomers, how do they approach you and how do you choose to work with them?
Well, a lot of the times I've had producers, well, for instance, most of the producers on this album actually came to me and said they wanted to be a part of the project. Mm-hmm. And there were a lot of producers that I had actually worked with, but not all of them made the album. I did maybe 30-something songs in total, and then just from that 30-something chose what truly displayed who I am and my characters the best and fit well with for the album, really. So it all depends. Some approach me, some I hear about through word of mouth, and some I learn of through listening to other music.
You gave, in your credits, you mentioned Kanye West. What do you think about him as a newcomer? What do you think about his work?
I think Kanye's great. He, very talented, very smart. One of the things that I love the most about him, two things. His energy, I think, is wonderful, and how hungry he is. You don't see that today with the young kids. Mm-hmm. It's all about how much money they can make as fast as they can. And it hurts me a lot of times because it's not about the art anymore. Mm-hmm. And Kanye still loves, he's into the art. He's into creating the music. Mm-hmm. And that's what I love about it. He really wants it. He gets it. And he's very hungry. And he's an old soul, too, to be so young. He's very wise beyond his years. Mm-hmm. I love that about him.
So, unlike other artists, you don't release the album every year. How do you decide which song is actually going to make it to the album?
I don't until the end, until I've written everything and recorded everything. And then I choose. Then I make my little list. Yeah, so I never really, you know, obviously you do have songs that you're more partial to here or there, mm-hmm. and you know that's definitely going to make it. It's a no-brainer. So it all depends.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we have the infamous question that I will just ask you, and you decide whether you will answer it or not. Your fan wants to know, was it really an accident, what happened at the Super Bowl? And what about the duet with Justin?
I was never meant to do a duet with Justin, mm-hmm. other than the one we did for his album. I think that was just a huge, huge rumor. And I normally don't talk about Super Bowl anymore, but I will say this. Yes, it was an accident. Was he supposed to take that off like that? Yeah, he was. But that wasn't supposed to happen. That was the part where the whole accident comes into play.
If there was one thing you could change about being famous, what would it be? In a good way, or, you know, something that annoys you that you would change, what would it be?
Sometimes I just want to blend in, but see, it's difficult, you know, because you can't have your cake and eat it too. There are those days where you just want to go out, like yesterday. You know, most of the time they'll shut down a store or a mall so you can shop. And I was in Milan, just so that you guys know I was in Milan yesterday, and I saw this really cute ad for this bathing suit. So they went looking all over the city for the bathing suit. They found it. So before I left, I went back to the store. It was just this little tiny hole-in-the-wall store. There was nobody in the store. I walk in the store, and I thought I'd be very fast. The next thing I know, the lady behind the counter is calling other stores to tell people that I'm there. There's one other person in there. She's running out, and everybody that's passing by, she's telling them that I'm in the store. So the next thing I know, this store is just crowded with people. And they're just not even shopping, they're just standing there staring at you. So sometimes you just wish you could blend in with everyone else. But like I said, you can't have your cake and eat it too. So.
Do you find places where you can do that? Where nobody actually knows you are Janet Jackson, or they know but they wouldn't treat you that way?
They do know, and if there's any artist that ever tells you no, that's BS. Everyone has their little private holes in the wall, where it's like the show Cheers. You go where everybody knows your name, they all know who you are, but they respect your privacy, and they smile, give a nod, and they leave you be, and you have a great time. Everybody has that, their little place, their little secret dive.
Okay, that's good. I'm not going to ask you where that is. Another question from your fan. What do you see yourself doing in 10 years from now? Do you think about that?
To be honest with you, a lot of times, like that far in the future, no, I don't. But you're asking me, I see myself very, very happy. And it's on the water. I'm a water person. Yeah, I love the beach. So, and I don't know, maybe a family, I don't know. But still creating music and definitely films, more films. And creating other things.
Do you are you thinking about bringing out people on your label, like new artists that you would produce?
There was a time when I actually wanted a label, and that the industry is just so different today that it when I saw that change happening, it made me really think twice about it. And I'm not so sure it's something that I really want to do, but I do love helping people, and I guess I do it in my own little way.
Juno wants to know, how long did it take for you to have such a great body? What's your workout plan? Like, do you have one?
Oh, God. You know, I hate working out. I hate it. And I get so bored so easily that I have a wonderful trainer, Tony Martinez, that he has to switch it up all the time so I don't get so bored. So there are mornings where we play tennis, as opposed to just being in the gym. There are times when we do football drills, basketball drills. Running on the beach has been one of the major things that we've been doing a lot. Now, I live on the beach in LA, and we run in the soft sand, which is a lot harder than the hard sand, because you're digging, and you really feel it in your legs. Boxing. Boxing's very good. We do a lot of boxing. And we also lift. When I'm on tour, we work out 6 days a week for about 2.5 hours a day, even on show days. So that's a lot of cardio. And you just have to be careful because, you want to gain muscle and lose the fat. And sometimes if you do too much or get your heart rate up too high, you'll burn the muscle. and the fat still stays there, and that's not cute.
Does it ever? Jula wants to know, who do you think is your biggest competition in the market right now?
I think everybody's fine. I'm a very competitive person. I think anybody that's out at the same time I am, they're competition.
What about the people that look up to you? And, you know, in my opinion, you create a style. You created a style with Rhythm Nation. You created a style with Janet. You create a style. You come out, you look different. And there's some aura about you, charisma about you. But there's a lot of artists that will copy that. How do you feel about that?
It's flattering. It really is. I mean, it's even more flattering when they can admit it. Because there are some that don't want to admit it, and yet you see it. I mean, the funny thing about it for me was a lot of these young kids today, I would watch their videos and listen to their music, and I enjoyed watching them. And then my friends would say to me, you know, they're emulating you. I was like, well, I see they're dancing and singing, but I'm enjoying it just the way I did, and they're just having fun, but no, they're emulating you. And then, you know, later on they may send an interview that you inspire them. Everybody gets inspiration from people that have come before them, just as I did. And it's just very flattering.
So you are a role model to a lot of fans, like me included, not just artists, but, you know, just regular people. How do you deal with that responsibility? Do you see that as a responsibility?
I think we're all role models, whether we truly want to be or not. I think there's a great deal of responsibility that does come with that, but at the same time, it's important to me for me to be true to myself. Like, for instance, with this album, a few of the people at the label were very fearful of me putting certain songs on because they thought that I would get a lot of flack for it. But it's nothing that I had done any differently than I had done in the past. I think it was just off the heels of all the Super Bowl drama. And I'm not going to change that for anyone. I'm not going to change who I am for anyone. And I wouldn't be me if I had taken them off the album.
Let's talk about your fans. You have some diehard fans that have followed you for years. Does it ever get to a point where you think it's a little over the top? Like, does it ever annoy you, or do you just appreciate them for who they are?
Oh, I appreciate that. I mean, those are loyal fans. I mean, there are people that I've admired back in the day and still admire to this day. Still love their music. They still inspire me. It's nice to see that, and then you start to learn their names and get to know them, and when you come to certain cities or certain countries, you see them, and you get the chance to say hello, say hi to them, and then, you know, learn that they've had children now or are married, and their kids are now following your work. It's nice, very nice.
So it never gets too much?
It never gets too much, and it never gets old. Not for me.
Okay, your fan wants to know, what's your beauty secrets, first of all? Do you have any? And do you believe in plastic surgery?
I believe in anything that makes you happy, you should do. It's all about you, and it's all about you. Granted, first and foremost, you should love you for who you are and not let society try to sway you one way or the other. But if it's something that you're truly adamant about and that you don't like and you want to change, change it. What was your other question?
What's your beauty secret? Do you have any?
I don't have any. There's not a certain soap. I use any soap I get my hands on. Hotel soap, anything. As long as it hasn't been opened, I'm using it. I really don't have any beauty secrets.
What about love? Love seems to be a really big theme on this album as well.
Yeah, love drives me. I'm truly, for the most part, in life, I'm driven by love. I feel I finally got it right this time. Yeah.
So you're happy with the love life?
Yeah.
That's good.
Very happy.
You've been in the business for decades, and I would like to know from you, what's the most disappointing thing you found out being in the business, working in the business, and what's the most surprising and pleasant thing you found out?
The most disappointing thing is that there's so many snakes, and you can't trust, especially when you feel that there's someone that you've become attached to and that you feel has got your back, and the next thing you know, you can't trust them. That is so painful, and it happens a lot. Everybody has an agenda. I shouldn't say everybody. The majority of the people have an agenda. I'll tell you a quick little story. I had first moved to where I live in Malibu, and I didn't know anyone in the city. And it just so happens that there's another person, I won't mention his name, that's in the business, a big wig in the film industry. He's a good friend of my brother's, and my brother said he lives right down the beach from you. You can walk to his house. And so he said, you should meet him. At least he'll introduce you to other people in the city. So when he came over, he had lunch at the house. And he said, so what's this about? And I said, what's what about? And he said, so what, you want to do a film? I was like, no. I said, I don't know anybody here, and I just wanted to get to know someone. And I said, and my brother knew you and said you were nice. And he said, so you're not interested? I said, of course I'm interested in doing films. I said, but that's not why I invited you over. I said, and we've never done a film together. We've never done a project together, and we're friends. But it was he was looking at me very puzzled, because everybody in this business has an agenda. It's just not about friendships, and that's one of the things that hurt me too, the most. You don't exchange numbers anymore just to laugh and have a good time and be true friends and build a relationship. It's all about what you could get in the end. They're always after something, and that hurts me. One of the great things about it is when you do find those friendships that last forever, and that you can share things with, and that make you feel good. The fans, that's another. Performing and creating the music that you want to create, not what someone else wants you to create.
So when new people come into your life, do you have like a radar where you can tell what they're about?
There are times when I can, and there are times when it takes me a minute, but I'm not so quick to let someone in immediately, just right off the bat. It can get hard at times. I just don't let anyone into my circle so easily.
So how's your family doing? How's everybody?
Everyone's doing very well. Thank you.
Do you guys really get to see each other a lot?
Not as much as I wish we did, but we do. A lot of people don't think we're close, but we are. We're very close. And we don't get to see each other as often as I wish we would, only because of such as this, me being here in Europe and another brother being somewhere else, or another sister being elsewhere. And it gets tough because there are so many of us, and then there's always someone left out, because it's hard to get us all together where we have a day off at the same time. That if you get the majority of us, it's like, okay, then let's all get together, whoever is available at this time. And then the next time, one of those members might be left out, but you'll wind up, getting together with the others. So it gets tough at times, but we do get together. There's a lot of us. I have like 26 or 7 nieces and nephews alone. So there's a lot of us.
What about the next generation?
What about them?
Are they coming out with music, or 3T, your nephews actually came out with an album. What are they doing?
They have another album out, actually, and basically they're taking their time with it. They've been really doing a lot of work in France first, and just starting it up there with this album in particular. And I was just in Paris in March. I didn't even know they were in Paris, and I ran into them there, and we spent some time together. So there's the 3T. I actually have a few nephews that are in music. A lot of them actually are, but they're more when it comes to producing and writing, and they're still working on their craft and trying to perfect it. And I have a few nieces that actually sing, but more so than be in front of the camera, they want to be behind the scenes, once again, with writing and producing. But there's a couple of them that have really, really incredible voices on them. So It all depends upon if they really want to use it or do something completely different.
Let's talk about the tour. Your fans want to see you live. The last one was canceled because of 9/11. Do you see yourself coming here anytime soon?
Yeah, I do. And, you know, I just have to truly say that I know a lot of the fans were upset and very disappointed that I didn't come, and I just hope I hope they understand where I was coming from, because in America we're not used to terrorism, and you guys obviously more of that you're used to here on this end, and it's basically in a sense have grown up with that, and that's something that was just completely new to me. It was a very, very difficult decision for me to make. I had a lot of sleepless nights on tour in America, trying to figure out whether I should or shouldn't. And I had a lot of moments where I actually cried to myself because of it. And I did a lot of praying over it. And I just felt it was better for me not to, for the safety of the band, the dancers, the crew, the audience, and myself. And who knows? I mean, everything may have been, you know, fine. But I was more at ease knowing that I was being safer, better safe than sorry. It was my way of thinking. But we're definitely planning a world tour. It starts in September, and we're starting in the States first, and then we'll probably by next year sometime, make our way here.
Well, we can't wait for that. Thank you so much.
Thank
Again,
you.
this was it. Vielen Dank auch an Sie für die zahlreichen Fragen. Bis zum nächsten Mal beim Megachat. Tschüss. Thank you.